in 2019 that everyone knew, but mainstream media was hiding, which was that he was mentally compromised
Okay, so
5
you lied.
years ago.
So you lied.
He has not.
Thank you for admitting that you lied about retiring. I'm
If
glad.
you think he's really been president or making the decisions, Harry, you've been wrong about everything. It's not even worth addressing you. But let me, if I can make a point about the oligarch.
It's not worth talking to liars like you who say you're going to retire and then you don't.
All right. If I can make a point of.
Harry Sisson gets completely BTFO'd live on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show when Dave Rubin and even Ben Ferguson completely owns Harry Sisson. Piers Morgan gets in on it as well, of course. Let's see how this goes down.
Inaugural address there, two things struck me. One, it was about half as long as his first one. Very disciplined, very focused, hit all what he would call his greatest hits from his rallies. It looked to me like a guy who understands what he has to do second time round is absolutely deliver on promise. And if he does, his legacy could be extremely good. I also got a sense of somebody who genuinely believes it when he says he feels like he's got another chance after the assassination attempt. That bit of humanity in the speech was something he said to me a week after he got shot, that he just feels there was a reason why he got spared and that he thinks it's to make America great again, and that's his great calling and purpose. What did you feel about those two things?
Yeah, I think that's quite a good analysis. And Piers, I think that was Donald Trump's single best speech ever. We have all heard dozens, if not hundreds of them. That was the most focused, on-point speech. And he really did two things there. It obviously was about the resilience and the resurgence of America and laying out this golden age that I really do think is a coming. And I think there's going to be change, and change really, really fast, and just returning to a lot of the sanity that we have forgotten about. I mean, just for a president to have to get up there and say men are men and women are women is kind of crazy, but that's how close to the precipice of insanity we got. But also fixing things at the border and foreign policy and economically and et cetera. But the other part that I really like, because it was necessary, was that much of the speech was directed completely at the people who were behind his left shoulder. Yeah. And I'm talking about, obviously, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the other former presidents and some of those people, because he basically said, you guys almost handed the keys to the kingdom away. You almost ruined the most precious, beautiful system of governance in the history of the world. And I think It was important to say that this wasn't a speech of retribution, but it was important to acknowledge these guys have messed up an awful lot, and their day is over. A new day is here, and Donald Trump is going to be a president for the people. And I also agree with what you said about his newfound, if you want to call it faith, that's just fine. But I think he is on a mission right now, and it's very exciting. I can tell you, being here in D.C. right now, there are smiles on virtually every face in this city right now. Believe it or not, here in D.C.
Well, there's no smile on Cornel West's face. Cornel, it's a golden age. The future is coming. America's been trampled into the ground by the Democrats, but the savior is here, and all is going to be great. Do you share that optimism?
If you agree with what Dave Rubin had to say, please smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel. It'll be helping me out a lot. Let's continue.
Well, I'm a prisoner of hope, but for those of us who are committed to some deep conception of truth and love and justice, especially for poor and working people, not just here, but around the world. Africa, Gaza, Haiti. Legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. is one of what? Unarmed truth. Donald Trump, you know, he's my brother, I'm a Christian, but he promotes armed lies and unconditional hubris. Where was the focus on poor people? Where was the acknowledgement of the genocide? Where was the acknowledgement of working people, 62% living paycheck to paycheck? But he says prosperity, yes, we want prosperity. Will it be fairly distributed? We had the oligarchs sitting right next to him. They're speaking into his ear. And Martin Luther King Jr. says, wait a minute, when I died, I was dealing with oligarchs. When I died, I was dealing with increasing deregulated markets that makes it different for working people to gain access to fair wages. So it's a sad day for me, but I smile anyway because I believe in the possibility of human beings. And as a Christian, you know, I pray for Trump, I pray for his family, but I also recognize that he's still the same gangster with neo-fascist sensibilities that he was before, and I'm going to fight him. I love my enemies, but I'll be fighting him every fiber of my being.
Would you say that it's the behavior of a gangster, Cornell, to give preemptive pardons to all your family and your mates? And
bingo.
I mean,
that's what gangsters do. And
how does that sit with your very powerful homily about?
The Democrats have their own gangsters, brother. They got their own genocide
Yes.
promoters and so forth. And not only that, there's a gangster in each and every one of us. The question is whether we're willing to push it back and allow the best of us. That's the legacy of Martin King, but not just King. That's the legacy of Jesus of Nazareth, my brother.
Okay. Let me bring Ben Ferguson in here. I mean, I do think the best thing that could possibly have happened for Republicans is not just that Trump obviously got elected again and in such overwhelming style, especially winning the popular vote, which kind of killed all arguments stone dead, but also that he did it in a way, and this was clear from the speech, which resonated with so many people that Cornell doesn't seem to think were remotely impacted or affected by this. Because he had a lot of poor Americans queuing up to vote for him, actually, who raced to the ballot box because in Trump they saw someone who does care about them. I don't agree with Cornell there. What did you feel?
With all due respect, Cornell, I don't think you were listening, because the people in this country that are living paycheck to paycheck, they voted in overwhelming numbers for Donald Trump. Those that were concerned about their kids' future, and every time they pull up to a gas pump, they were having a hard time figuring out how they're going to choose between filling up a full tank or getting a full basket of groceries, they voted for Donald Trump. This election was proof that the American people were left behind by Joe Biden and the Biden crime family and those that he was going to have to pardon. They cared more about going after their political opponents than they did about the American people that were suffering. And if you listen to what Donald Trump said, he was clearly speaking to those living paycheck to paycheck. And he clearly was saying, I understand that there's these people that try to destroy me and ruin my life, but that's not why I'm here. God spared my life to come back in and to say, I am going to be your spokesperson. He said it last night in his campaign rally, basically his last event of his life, where he was sitting there saying, I am here for you, not for me. I think he's a different man than he was in 2016. I think anyone that watched that speech and listened to it felt hope today. I think if you're an American that's struggling, a single mom that's struggling today, someone whose kid's in a failing school, in my hometown, for example, of Memphis, Tennessee, where Martin Luther King was gunned down on this MLK Day, the majority of the schools there are failing. And what has Donald Trump said? We have to do better. We have to do better for the Hispanic American community, the African American community. We have to give you safer neighborhoods, safer streets, and a secure border. And if you're looking at that president, Donald Trump of 2025 is very different than Donald Trump of 2016 and 17 and 18 and 19. This is going to be a different administration.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely. The reason why Donald Trump resonates with so many people is because he speaks for the people. He speaks on behalf, and that's why we voted for him. He doesn't tell us what to think. He hears what we're saying. I mean, there's a reason why he resonates with not just rich people, but poor people, middle class. He resonates from anyone, no matter what your income bracket is, which is saying a lot for a billionaire like Donald Trump. But I'm pretty sure lefty lunatic shills like Harry Sisson here will disagree with me. But what do you guys think so far? Sound off in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Let's continue.
I think that's highly likely. But Harry says, and I can see you grimacing and pulling all sorts of faces there. And look, you've been...
Good to see you too, Piers.
Great to see you. Always good to have you on Uncensored, even though you've been wrong spectacularly about almost every single thing you've said in the last calendar year. But we'll gloss over that.
I mean, yeah, what has Harry Sisson been right about? He just gets paid to shill for Democrats. That's all he is.
Cornell would say, I forgive you, my brother. That's fine. For just being so wrong the entire time. But I do want to play you a clip from December 2020 when Joe Biden was asked by Jake Tapper at CNN about rumors that Donald Trump might issue some preemptive pardons before he left office.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets in how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons, nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Harry, here's your chance to redeem yourself by just conceding that when Joe Biden said that, he was telling an absolute blatant lie, because he's now done preemptive pardons for just about anybody he can think of. Our main weapon against Trump has always been his alleged lack of veracity, as you put it. Do you accept now that that's gone? Because actually, Biden himself just told endless porkies about stuff like preemptive pardons.
It's interesting, Piers, that you're arguing for the view that somebody's opinion on something can't change if circumstances change. So when President Biden made that claim, there was no threat toward Donald Trump or his family. And look at these guys, these losers laughing over here. But with Donald Trump appointing Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go, excuse me, be quiet. Wanting to appoint Kash Patel to the FBI, who said he wants to go after his political opponents. Donald Trump, who said he wants to appoint a special counsel to go after Biden's family. Kash Patel has a list of people that he wants to go after and prosecute. So you're asking me, wait, why did Biden do this? Why did he pardon his family? Maybe because the Trump DOJ and Trump's administration is promising to come after them. I'm perfectly fine with Joe Biden doing that, given the unjust attacks that they've suffered for the past 4 years as the Biden family. And I also just want to finish with one thing. I don't know why losers like Dave Rubin are up here, because 4 years ago he said if Biden serves a full term, he'll retire. So I wonder why Dave Rubin hasn't retired yet, when he said 4 years ago he'd do so if Biden served a full term. So go along, David, and
hush,
get out of here.
Hush, Hobbit, for just a moment.
Yeah. Look at Dave Rubin doubling down on being wrong and lying. I thought you were retiring, Dave. What happened?
I said that in 2019 to illustrate the point back in 2019 that everyone knew, but mainstream media was hiding, which was that he was mentally compromised 5 years ago.
So you lied.
He has not.
Thank you for admitting that you lied about retiring. I'm glad.
If you think he's really been president or making the decisions, Harry, you've been wrong about everything. It's not even worth addressing you. But let me, if I can make a point about the oligarch.
Talking to liars like you who say you're going to retire and then you don't.
All right. If I can make a point about referencing what Cornell said about the oligarchs, it's I think a little bit of low resolution thinking to look at the people standing behind Donald Trump and say, oh, they're oligarchs. These are job creators. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and some of those other people, and now bringing Zuckerberg in, and all of these people, whether you like them or not, whether you think everything they've done is good or not or anything else, these are innovators. These are people who have revolutionized industries and will continue to do so. They've created more jobs than any of us have, or any of us all combined. So I don't think that just saying, oh, but there's these rich, successful people up there, it's not inherently bad. It's actually quite good, because now they are going to help Donald Trump unleash the American economy.
Well, yeah, and also, look, I mean, in relation to someone like, hang on, Harry. I mean, Harry.
Real quick, it's always so weird, this defense of Joe Biden pardoning everyone because, oh, well, Donald Trump said they're going to go after them. Okay, yeah, but if they haven't committed any crimes, they won't have anything to worry about, right? But even if Donald Trump was just going after them to go after them, and they have a clean record, except maybe a jaywalking charge, a jaywalking violation that they're going to trump up the charges for, all you're admitting is that the government is able to trump up charges in order to persecute their political opponents. That's all you're admitting, which is exactly what the Joe Biden regime did. So on one hand, they could go after Trump and trump up charges because no one's above the law. But then Joe Biden's like, oh, I better pardon everybody. He pardons everybody. Preemptive pardons, by the way. They're not even, haven't even been convicted of crimes. It's just a blanket. Yep, you're just protected from anything. And all of a sudden, they're above the law. Huh. It's so funny how that works. It's almost as if it's just, well, when we do it, it's good. When they do it, it's bad. What do you guys think so far? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel. Let's continue.
In relation to someone like Elon
Harry,
Musk.
grow up.
Well, Harry, in relation to someone like Harry,
Russian funding was keeping Dave afloat for a while.
Harry,
I'm just pointing that out.
Time out. Don't get personal.
Yeah, also not true.
But when you talk about someone like...
It's not even personal, Piers. It's just fact.
Harry, I am actually trying to moderate a debate here. When Elon Musk, for example, if you take him, I mean, I couldn't think of a more classic American immigrant success story than a guy who comes to America. He creates some of the biggest, most successful companies in the history of planet Earth, almost all of which are specifically designed to help planet Earth, whether it's Tesla with green energy cars or Neuralink or SpaceX or whatever it may be. The idea that anyone like you would have a few years ago said there was inherently a big problem with somebody like Elon Musk, given what he's done for America, would be unthinkable. And yet now you do, because now he supports Donald Trump.
Oh, no, hold on. I have no problem with any of Elon Musk's
I'll let
companies
Cornell
if he-
answer that, actually. Cornell?
No, the point is this, though. We're talking about a system. Carnegie came from Scotland with hardly a dime and became a multi-millionaire. He was an oligarch during the Gilded Age. He was a robber baron. He had a system in which he was able to ascend to the top, but it was predicated on capitalist processes such that working people had tremendous difficulty gaining access to wages, and it was predicated on tremendous power over politicians. Now, does Musk have tremendous influence over politicians? Does Bezos and others? Of course they do. And what's interesting about this is, if Brother Trump had lost, he would have said the system is rigged. Both of the candidates with gangster elements in both parties were tied to billions of dollars. 90 million fellow Americans decided what? Not to vote at all. So I'm not denying that working class Americans would vote for Trump, because if the only alternative is a milquetoast Biden, then what other choice do you have? Many of those folks have voted for Bernie Sanders, have voted for Obama. The system itself is so corrupt. That's what we have to come to terms with.
Dave?
I think people are so over this type of thinking. There are so many millions of people in America who are so unbelievably excited right now. And we are about to see an 80s style revolution and reignition of the American dream. I think we are going to see booms in every industry across the country. From entertainment to manufacturing. He talked about cars again today and automobiles. We are going to see people dream again. You know, we have been in a 4-year lull. We've been in a mini depression as a country because we ushered in all of the worst socialist ideas. I hate to tell Cornell, but capitalism is the best system out there to free the people. And we are going to usher in capitalism. We're going to deregulate.
Biden was absolutely a socialist. He was a socialist.
Oligarchy is not free markets. Oligarchy markets are not free markets at all, and Biden's no socialist. There's no socialism.
He's a communist. He's a Marxist. He has all three in there.
I mean, explain then the student loan forgiveness thing then, if he's not no socialist. I mean, personally, I don't think maybe Joe Biden is a socialist deep down, but he's definitely pushing the Democrat agenda, which currently is a socialist agenda.
When you go after political opponents and you raid their homes, Cornell, that is what socialists, Marxists, and communists do. When you have to give out pardons to your entire family,
that's authoritarianism.
When you have to get, I said it's different elements. You have socialism, communism, Marxism. That is the Democratic Party right now. But the part that I am truly shocked that the two of you still don't understand is why Donald Trump left in 2020, and a lot of people didn't like him, and he came back now, and people absolutely love him. And what you're missing, and part of me is shocked, and part of me is glad that you're missing it, because it means you guys don't know how to fight him, is that Donald Trump understood that there were people that were hurting in this country, and they were hurting so bad because of the policies that put Hunter Biden and James Biden and the Biden family ahead of the American people. When they weaponized, again, if that's what you see, this is why you lost. Because what you don't understand is when you weaponize the government the way that he did, when you go out there and the very last thing that you'll be remembered for is taking your criminal actions and covering them for your family. The last thing Joe Biden ever did in politics was give pardons to his criminal family members, Fauci and others on January 6th. The reason why he lost, the reason why Harris lost, is because they didn't give a crap about the American people. And it was so clear they didn't at the end. And that is exactly why you lost. And if you guys aren't paying attention to that, you're going to keep losing. I'm thankful for that. But if you don't understand, this is how you lost
I'm
America.
not here to
You're
defend
dead.
Biden.
All right.
Harry Sisson, just look at it. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, why are you saying these things? Oh, lies. There's a reason why he gets called the fancy F word a lot on X, and it's because of things like this. But, you know, I brought up the student loan forgiveness earlier. You know, communism and socialism, it's where the government is in control. The government controls everything. And what have Democrats been advocating for the last however so long? More government control over everything. What's their solution? Oh, tax billionaires more, tax millionaires more, tax the rich. Where does tax dollars go? To the government. I don't know how making, Elon Musk pay more in taxes or big businesses pay more in taxes is going to put more money into my bank account. But the government is telling us that it helps us out somehow. They want to control narratives via social media and the media. I mean, how are they not authoritarian / communistic in nature? Sound off in the comment section below.
I'm not defending Harris. I'm not defending the Democratic Party. I agree with elements of what you said. I just told you that one of the reasons why Trump won is because he poses as if he's a kind of populist because of the milquetoast neoliberal Democratic Party that didn't speak to working people, didn't speak to poor people, wars around the world, genocide in Gaza. I'm not a defender of a decrepit Democratic Party, brother. Don't put me in that space.
All right, but Cornell,
Don't put me in that space. I can tell the truth about the Republican Party and their greed and their neo-fascist sensibility.
Cornell, I do need to have one thing clarified. What is the milquetoast reference?
Yes.
What's milquetoast?
Spineless, no backbone, no principle, lacking in integrity and character.
But did you vote
that's
for
true
him?
for both parties. That's all I'm saying.
Did
From
you
Martin
vote for
Luther
him?
King
It's a great
Jr.'s
phrase.
point
I
of
just hadn't
view,
heard it before.
integrity, honesty, decency, character. You don't see it in Trump.
I always thought milquetoast just meant plain and boring. Like, oh, you know, the milquetoast. You're going to get offended over what milquetoast so-and-so said. You know, the most safe, plays it the most safe and doesn't say anything controversial. I thought that's what milquetoast meant. But hey, if that's his I don't disagree with his definition in terms of applying it to Joe Biden and the Democrats. So I'll give him that one.
You don't see it in Biden.
you do.
You don't see it in
You
either
see it
party.
in Trump.
Vote for
That's all
Joe
I'm saying.
Biden. Cornell,
We just disagree on that. We just,
sexual abuse
but we'll
or his
see.
character.
Okay, I want to ask Harry. Okay, look, I want to ask Harry
Did
this.
he vote for Joe Biden?
Let me
Piers,
ask
did he
Harry
vote
this
for Joe
question.
Biden?
Harry Sisson, there's going to be
You said what?
Hang on,
Did you vote
Cornell,
for
hang
Joe
on.
Biden?
Hang on, guys. I'm going to Harry. Harry, there's going to be an executive
I
order.
voted for myself.
Cornell, time out. I'm going to Harry for a question.
Okay.
Here's my question for Harry. There's going to be up to 200 executive orders unleashed, right? Many have already been signaled, many have already been announced. Some were in the speech, some afterwards. We know what a lot of these things are going to be, Harry. I'm just curious, genuinely curious, which ones you have a big problem with, right? For example, would you contest the fact there is a crisis on the southern border?
No, I definitely think that there's a problem at the border, but it's just interesting that Donald Trump is declaring a national emergency on this, given the fact that the numbers right now at the border are similar or even lower than they were under Donald Trump's
administration. Well, the reason he's done that is because nearly 10 million... Well, hang on, Harry, the reason is that nearly 10 million illegal immigrants got into America on the southern border in the last 4 years. That's an emergency.
No. Actually, that's not true. The majority of people who have come in recent years have come in through asylum, meaning that they are legal. This guy, you can keep saying yes, it is all you want. You just don't know what you're talking about. The majority of people who have come in through asylum, meaning that they're legal immigrants.
So how many illegal immigrants came in?
System?
Can you just special numbers that you find in some special place?
Can you just
out
be
of your
quiet?
ass? Where? How many
just
came
stop
in?
talking. Just stop. Nobody needs to hear you
No, I want to
speak
know
right
how
now.
many you
The
think
overwhelming
came in
majority of people
illegally.
come in through asylum. Now, Joe Biden tried to
How many
rewrite the
came in
asylum
illegally?
laws to make
What
it
is your
harder
number?
for people to claim asylum
You don't know.
improperly, and
You guys
Republicans
make it
like
up.
Donald Trump blocked the bill. So it's fascinating to me that this is Donald Trump's day one executive order, and it's also for this Ferguson
It's
guy
not
over here.
his.
You're saying,
The
"Oh,
American people
can you be
voted
quiet
for
for
it."
5 seconds?" By
Can
any
you just
chance?
agree
Can you
with
be
me,
quiet for 5
Harry?
seconds?
Harry, to be fair,
Hold on.
Harry,
May I
just to
finish?
remind
Everybody else is
you,
given the opportunity
just
to
to
finish.
remind you, the first thing you did was agree with me. There's a crisis on the southern border. So why wouldn't you agree that there should be an emergency order?
Well, I'm just curious as to where the emergency is. I think there's a crisis of the law. The law is lacking. I would like to see Donald Trump actually try to rewrite the asylum
All
law.
right, so you think there's a crisis, but you shouldn't do anything about it. All right.
Do you
think the cartel gangs should be designated terrorist groups? Yes or no?
Sure, no problem.
No problem with that. Great. Okay.
Wait, can I take?
No, hang on. Do you think America has? Do you think there should be more than 2 genders in America?
Yeah, I don't know what that executive order means. I don't know what the president declared.
It means there are 2 genders, male and female. Do you disagree with that?
But how many genders are there, Harry?
Yeah,
come on, little guy. How many genders are there?
Again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they won't be able to answer.
Harry, how many genders are there?
How many genders are there, Harry?
How many genders are there?
What's the legal? I'm gonna use Joe Biden's answers. At least 2. At least 2. That satisfies.
Well, how many more are there than male?
At least 2? No. There's only 2, not at least 2. There is only 2. See, when you're a Democrat shill, you can't say anything that upsets your fan base, who you're shilling to. You have to keep up with the propaganda. So he knows it's only 2, but he has to say something to make him sound reasonable, but he still has to appease his base. So his little slimy way of saying it is, well, there's at least 2, because then, see, he at least seems reasonable, but he also doesn't upset the LGBTQ LMNOP people.
That's a TikTok answer.
No, there's at least 2.
Yeah.
There's at least 2.
Well, no, hang on. There's male and female.
Kid is like human brain
Donald
rot.
Trump says there's male and female. There are 2.
Okay, Dave.
How many
Rubin,
more
come
are
on
there
now.
after male and female, Harry?
There's at least 2. Now, anyway, let me get back to what I was
How many more are there?
What are the other ones?
There's at least 2.
What are the other
two.
ones?
Harry, let's
with
try it this way.
executive order,
You're a
what's the legal
female. What is the other gender?
It's so funny. It's so funny how these conservatives just get time to lie on this show, but when I'm speaking, they all interrupt and there's no problem.
Question.
You've just been asked a very simple question, Harry.
Conversation with
How many
Piers, not you,
genders there
Mr.
are?
Comb over. Relax for me.
Harry,
Take a
you
breather.
simply
Thank
got
you so
asked
much.
if there are at least 2 genders, how many more
Wait,
are
Piers,
there than male and female?
Piers, you asked me about Donald Trump's executive order. I'm trying to explain how legally it makes absolutely no sense and it's going to get sued in court. Then we go into culture wars with Dave Rubin and this Ferguson guy asking how many genders are there. I'm trying to answer your question. They're screaming their faces off about issues that don't fucking matter.
I'm
Harry,
asking you.
Oh God, this
And
child.
Piers,
I'm asking you, Harry,
Piers,
how many genders
and I'm
are
answering
there?
your question.
Harry,
Piers, I've answered your question.
Harry, how many genders are there?
2. There are at least 2.
2 or at least
Are
2?
there 100?
Hang on,
Are there
Ben.
100?
Hang on, Ben. I've got
More
this.
or less than 100?
Can I answer the question?
Yes,
for
Cornell.
Brother Harry?
Answer the question.
Can I answer the question
Yes.
for Brother Harry? Because
7?
Brother Harry trying
Yes,
to hold
help
on.
him out, Cornell.
That according to Shakespeare, all of us are androgynous. There are men and there are women. There are different sides of human beings, all made in the image of a God that has a dignity and a sanctity. And if you're going to try to start demonizing precious trans folk, then I'm going to be fighting you. But it's not. But
okay, Cornell, I agree with them. I agree with them. I agree. Don't
This
demonize
is all
trans
the
folks,
left
but there
has
is an
left. It's
executive
really
order.
Even Harry couldn't. Even Harry was like, "Okay, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that." See what I mean? He doesn't even believe his own BS. Harry's full of crap.
I've got to say, the torturous
No, that's not all the left has left. We got a whole lot
I think when you're
more waiting for
reduced
you,
to
Brother
quoting
Rubin. You
Shakespeare,
just watch.
Cornell, when you're reduced to quoting
on
Shakespeare
Empire,
about gender.
But it's going to be humanistic across
Look
the
at this
board.
cult member out there with so many MAGA hats. Take them off your head, buddy. It's weird.
I'm
Take
just
them off
showing
your
why
head.
we won, bro.
Nobody's demonizing the weak.
How
I'm
many
for
genders there
girls
are.
playing girls in
Winning
girls
at the
sports.
moment doesn't mean that you're right, brother. Just because you won at the
Dave,
moment
how many
doesn't mean
trans
that you're
athletes
right.
are in college
you know
sports?
that. You know that from
Cornell,
history.
Cornell,
Dave
please.
Rubin, how many trans athletes are in college sports? Does anybody know? Anybody
If
know?
there's one biological male beating a girl in a sport,
Yeah,
it's
look
one
at
too
this.
many.
This guy has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Now, can we get back to the executive orders I disagree with by any chance?
Yeah, sure. But what about that one, about the 2 genders?
Yeah.
I can't work out.
Two genders. Let's go back to that.
Well, hang on. I can't work
happy
out
to
whether you
answer
agree or
it.
disagree. Donald Trump says specifically, Harry, there are 2 genders, male and female. That's it. You think there are at least 2, which normally
Correct.
means there are more than 2. So what are the others?
Interpret as you will, but I think
Well, no,
that
you tell
executive
me.
order is stupid.
Tell me, what are the others?
I've given you my answer.
What are
It's
the
one,
others?
two.
Baby.
You can interpret
Give
that
us
as you
Harry,
will.
what are the other
You guys can run
genders?
wild with interpretations here. I'm
Harry,
telling you my answer is at
Harry,
least 2. Now,
Harry.
on the legitimacy of the
I'm trying
executive
to
order,
be-
it
I'm
makes
trying
no
to be
sense.
humane.
What's legal mechanism for enforcement?
Harry,
That's what I'm
This is
asking.
why I hate TikTok babies.
Harry, when you say there are at least 2
Be
genders,
quiet. Ted Cruz's buddy over here with the comb over needs to be quiet.
It's Piers
Just
talking
relax.
to you.
I know there's
simply
2
want to know,
genders.
Harry. You said you wanted to go back to the list of executive orders, whether you agreed or not. You say
You
there
have
are...
my answer, Piers. My answer doesn't change.
No, but your answer doesn't make any sense. What do you mean?
It's
at least
stupid. It
two?
doesn't make any sense.
Piers, you can think my answer doesn't make any sense. You're going to ask me the question again. We're going to go back and forth. I'm
No,
going
I'd
to give you
like
the exact
you to
same
explain
answer.
what
It
you
makes
mean.
no sense.
No,
This executive order is
I'm asking
nonsense.
you what you mean by at least two genders.
I'm saying at least two.
What does that mean?
At least there are. What do you? What's the? I'm not sure what you're confused
Does
about.
that mean there are more than two, or there are
There's
two?
at a minimum. There's at a minimum two.
This is exactly why the
This
Democrats
is it.
on
Yes.
these issues got
Yes.
God, you
themselves
guys are
into
such
so much
losers.
difficulty
You guys are such
because they
losers.
literally
We
cannot
literally
explain
just
what
won
they're
an
talking
election.
about.
Trump is a
If there's any
convicted
day
felon.
not
Don't
to call
talk
us
to Piers.
losers,
All right,
it's
don't all
the
shout.
day we
I want
just
Dave
kick your
Rubin
ass.
to respond. Dave Rubin, this to me is exactly why the Democrats lost the plot. They can't even explain
look.
what they mean when they say this crap.
Look, Harry perfectly exemplifies everything wrong with the modern left and the Democrat Party. He can't tell you how many genders there are, and then all he can do is hurl insults. That's exactly what the Democrats and the
Weren't you
media
just calling me a
machine
child
has
earlier?
done. For you are a
Is the
child. That's not an
hypocrisy
insult.
not
You're a child.
astounding?
How old are you?
Is
12?
the hypocrisy not
Anyway,
astounding?
listen,
Do you feel no shame when you say something like that? Is the
Listen,
hypocrisy
hush,
not absolutely
hush.
astounding, Dave?
Be quiet. Get a job, kid. Listen. Listen,
Look,
this is
you're
exactly
doing it
this,
right
this
now.
smug,
You're doing it right now,
nonsensical
Dave.
drivel is
Oh,
what
the
everyone hates.
hypocrisy is astounding.
Piers, if you may remember, what was it, a few months ago, I think it was a day before Joe Biden stepped down when Harry and I were on the panel, and he was saying how brilliantly sharp and never sharper. He's, oh my God, his brain is so great. Joe Biden is the best. And then the next day,
They
he
did
gets
hire
the talking
TikTokers
points
to
from
say
the
that,
DNC.
in all fairness.
And he's yes, they pay these people. It's as simple as that.
they
That's
pay
why he
TikTokers
can't tell
a lot of
you
money
how many
commentators.
genders there
Russia
are.
pays conservative commentators.
All right, let me ask
Never been
Cornell. I
paid
want to
by
bring
Russia,
Cornell
big
back
dog.
there.
Whew. I don't think this is going to get any better for Harry. Harry tried to start off strong, but I mean, I don't know. Did anyone really predict that Harry was going to do well in this conversation? How well can Harry Sisson do? I love that Piers Morgan held his feet to the fire and tried to make him answer, well, how many more genders are there? Because he knows Harry can't answer that. Well, at least he knows he won't answer that. We all know Harry deep down inside knows there's only two genders. But he doesn't want to say it. And so I love that Piers Morgan held him to the fire. I love Dave Rubin shushing him. Like, shh, shh, shh. That was freaking hilarious. And Harry Sisson, I mean, he doesn't really stand a chance. He never stood a chance. But what do you guys think of this clip? Did you find it as funny and hilarious as I did, seeing Harry Sisson get BTFO'd live on the air? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel. You'll be really helping me out a lot. And if you want to see more of Dave Rubin or Piers Morgan, I got a whole playlist for you to click on and enjoy.